suma timo nisha sane kar Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Kar Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Kar Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Kar Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Kar Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Kar Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajra Dara Suma Timo Nisha Sane Kar Utta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Dagi Jitsun Lama Tuje Che Nyamda Dala Tuje Sikso So Gebe Shesan Dala Tendo So Oyon Sungi Nawa Tsedo So Tsechi Ningne Solwa Debe Tse Dechen Korlo Viso Lekshune Yila Sampe Dede Malupa Geme Lungi Drubra Chingi Lo Tsoni Sodan Dikdun Shape Tse Dungi Namke Yin So Lekshune Lapchen Tsoni Yonso Tsopada Chera Nidun Chamra Chingi Loba Chancho Pargi Ninsen Tukuntu Niu Peme Siudro Lekshune Chancho Drube Geken Kunshish Tungen Dela Drubra Chingi Loba Dagi Lona Chola Chokpada Chemi Samjur Ngemba Shi Chedan Tumbe Dede Malupa Beme Lungi Drubra Chingi Lo Dorna Tingne Tsera Tamcheda Techi Pardo Nekav Tamchetu Rese Kyamne Lama Keleme Tukje Chingi Dala Siksoso Gongyab Drewe Nyamda Dachala Chetsun Lame Tuje Rabgongne Kodan Sungi Nawa Drame Tu Nyam Sunyongwe Kesan Toprasho Kewa Kuntu Yanda Lama Dan Drame Cheki Pela Longchechi Sadan Lamgi Yunte Rabzone Dorje Changi Kopa Nyur Tobesho Pakyuke Kudan Dagilu Pakyuke Sundan Dagi Nga Pakyuke Tugdan Dagi Tön Yerme Chikto Chingelo Makyuke Kudan Dagi Lu Makyuke Sundan Dagi Nga Makyuke Tugdan Dagi Tön Yerme Chikto Chingelo Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Shakya Muni Swaha Sashipe Ke Choshe Meto Tramare Rabaling She Nide Gempadi Sange Shinto Mikte Ulwarki Drokunam Da shin la che par yedam guru ratna mandrala kam niryata yami sangye chedan tsoge chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapsu che dagi jinso gibe sonam ke drola pinchira sangye druparasho sangye chedan tsoge chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapsu dagi jinso gibe sonam ke drola pinchira sangye druparasho sangye chedan tsoge chonam la chancho pardo dani kyapsu chi gibe sonam ki drola pinchira sangye druparasho. In the Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Nel Buddha, nel Dharma e nel Sangha prendo rifugio fino all'illuminazione. Con la pratica della generosità e delle altre perfezioni possa io ottenere lo stato di Buddha per il beneficio di tutti gli esseri senzienti. Hai ke da ludan nue chin ke drupon dandami ke namdam drowa kuin ge dhanama che tsampa tham che ke do da ge che ten tam. Okay. So, one very common question that we make and we listen is why? Why things are the way they are? Why things happen in a way or in another way? Ok? Con la traduzione tutto bene? Ok, canale 2. Ok? Bene. So, we make the question of why things are the way they are. No? And my own understanding is that whenever I made this question, my conclusion is better to stop asking. Because I couldn't find any answer that was fully satisfactory to me. Because when I ask why things happen in a way, our tendency is to go to look for one reason. Then we find something that really looks very solid, the reason why this happened in that way. But then you just go and you see that there is one small other part that if that was not in that way, it would not have happened in the way it happened. So it also because of that. But then there is the other one, and the other one, and the other one. And there are countless reasons why things happen the way they happen, why things are the way they are. Okay? It's like many sicknesses that are more complex. For example, cancer. I always remember talking to our friend Paola Muti, who have been doing research on cancer for many, many years. And one time she was saying, if we need to give an answer, what is the cause of cancer, the main cause of cancer? The answer is our modern lifestyle, which comprehends
an immense amount of things. It's not this or that. Are many, many, many things put together. And what is interesting is that you look at something and that thing doesn't look to have much effect. But when that is added with the other one, it makes a different effect. So for example, I remember now one time I was doing some small study. I say small because I really didn't go deep into the composition of Tibetan medicine. And there was one medicine in particular in which a friend doctor was telling me, you see, for a long time we didn't understand why they were using these herbs here. And then, after nowadays, we understood that even though these herbs don't have this effect that we expect, when put together with curcuma, which was the case, they change their properties. And then they bring that other type of effect. Okay? So something that apparently is not the cause of this result, when added with something else, changes its properties and then bring another type of result. It's like people. Do people change their way of relation when they are in presence of other people, or they're always the same? Change, no? It's very different when we relate to one person alone, or when we relate to the same person with the presence of another person. It depends what type of relation the two have together. It's like so many variables. And what is interesting is that whenever you change one part, this change this, and this change that, and this change, everything is interconnected. So one time I came to this sort of metaphor. If you imagine a sphere, and this sphere is made of numbers, okay? So one number has a different equation to the other. So you have one number that is multiplied to the next one, then there is a subtraction, a multiplication, whatever, many different sorts of equations. But they're all connected. So when you change one number here, everywhere around you have changes, but that changes somehow will come back to the number you just changed. So everything is constantly moving. Okay? And this is the reality in which we live. So when we ask why things happen the way they happen, the only valid answer that I found, even if we are asking the most simple question, apparently simple question, we can say from a more superficial way, the reason is this. But if we need to give an answer that it's fully comprehensive of every aspect, the only answer is it is like this because causes and conditions have been ripened for it to be like this. There is no other answer. Because of its interdependence is like this. I couldn't find a different way of answering it. But the very interesting part is that we don't have so much freedom. The things happen in a very complex way. And our actions, our choices, our emotions are influenced by so many things. I remember one friend was telling me that she was studying psychology, and in one moment she was studying the part of psychology which is called, I think it's biopsychology, in which is the explanation of all the chemical hormones, explanation in relation to the emotions and so on, you know. Then she was very upset, saying, it's not true my parents love me, it's just chemical processes inside of them, you know, that make them feel like this, you know. But the point is, if we change the chemical components of our body, does it influence our mind? Totally. Okay? If we change environment, the environment influences the body and also influences the mind. The people that we are together with influences ourselves. What we eat, how we sleep. There are so many variables that we don't even imagine. Okay? But there is one very particular aspect which is quite amazing. Is that in the middle of all these variables, there are what are called sentient beings. We are sentient beings. Sentient beings means beings which is a union of body and mind that have the capacity of choice, that have the capacity of judgment, that have awareness, perception, sensation, emotions, and then acts in accordance to that. Okay? When we observe and we say our emotions, how much they are fully just from our side and how much they are influenced by all the rest. They are very much influenced by all the rest. It's not like fully our own choice. No? We are influenced by our hormones, which are influenced by our sleep, that is influenced by the way we eat, that is influenced by what we watch, to whom we talk. It's very complex, the whole thing. Okay? But in the middle of all this complexity, one small change in action makes a change at the whole. Okay? So there is no thing such as action that have no power, or that brings no effect, that brings no result. Okay? Sure, we have difficulty understanding and seeing the effects of every action. We are not capable to put all the parts together. At least I am not. And I imagine most of us are not. I have never met anyone that had this perfect understanding or at least manifested it. So, but when we look back to our past, we can see very clearly that choices made have had a big effect in what we are experiencing now. No, like before we had this meeting of the assembly of the association, and we were talking about the fact that the center was founded by Lama Michel Rinpoche many years ago. Many friends met Rinpoche and all together. And if we say, for example, why Rinpoche established the center in Milan? Because friends, such as Franco, believed in it, in Rinpoche, and said, yes, I'd like to help you, and then there were conditions there to do it. But these are results of what? Of choices, of understandings, of actions that are made in that moment. And sometimes, one small action brings enormous results in time. So, there was one phrase which I heard the other day, which was saying that it was in a movie, but it was saying, the course and direction of, like humanity, like a big group of people, can be predicted. Like actually just recently, one Italian scientist, he received the Nobel Prize for Physics from a system that he had studied in order to predict the movements of big masses by studying the fly of the birds. But what is interesting is that it is possible, there are ways of prediction to see what the whole humanity will do, a big group, how the whole big group will do, but there is no way to predict precisely one individual. And the individual can change the course of the whole history, can change the direction of the whole group. So this is a difficulty of things. There are ways to somehow try to predict and understand how the whole works, but we can predict the group, but we cannot predict the individual, and the individual can make changes in the whole. This is my main point. Our choices have an impact on the rest of everyone. I always think, what would have happened when Rinpoche had planned to go to Brazil, and our friends Claudio and Monica wanted to invite Lama Ganchen to Brazil, and their friend, Professor Shahet, he knew my mother, and he came to my mom's birthday, 30 years birthday, And my mom said, yes, I like to help to bring Lama Ganchen to Brazil. What if she said no? Most probably, I would not be here today. Okay? I don't know what would have happened, but sure things would have gone differently. You know? What happened if that day, she ate something different and she canceled the party because she had a bad headache? We don't know. Fact is that every small action has a big impact in our life and in the lives of others around us. And there is no action that is in vain. For example, what if someone comes today and starts talking bad about someone? Ok? Se avete bisogno della traduzione, adesso vi facciamo avere le cuffiette. Ok? What happens if someone comes to us today and starts talking bad about Devadatta? Okay? Devadatta technically is the name that was given to the cousin of Buddha. Buddha had one cousin, his name was Devadatta, and Devadatta was very envy of Buddha, actually. Basically what happened was that Devadatta wanted very much to be king himself, but he was not able to be king because he needed to serve his cousin Buddha, who didn't want to become a king. So somehow Devadatta lost his opportunity to be king because he needed to help his cousin, and his cousin didn't care about being king. So, making a long story short, Devadatta is the name that is given in many texts in Tibetan Buddhism when you need to say the name of someone. No? I don't know, Tizio Caio we say in Italian. I don't know how you say in English, just to say whoever's name, no? Huh? Tom, Dick, or Harry. Normally, we would say in Tibetan, Devadatta. Okay? So, Devadatta, he tried to kill Buddha 5 times. He was so envious of Buddha, even that he tried to gain power of the spiritual community. There are many stories about Devadatta. Anyhow. But let's say that you have no idea who is Devadatta, and I start telling you, look, Devadatta is really a terrible person. And I start saying, really don't trust Devadatta. He's a really person that has very bad intention, no good morals, very bad person. And I take half a minute of your time to talk badly about Devadatta. Okay, you have never met Devadatta. And I just take 30 seconds to say few sentences negative about Devadatta. Then you never hear again about Devadatta your whole life. In 20 years' time, you meet Devadatta. When you meet Devadatta after 20 years, this is Devadatta. Are you influenced by what you heard 20 years before or not? Unless you got Alzheimer? Yes, no? We are influenced. 30 seconds of something that we heard changes our perspective of reality. Changes the way we judge the other. Changes the way we see the other. So we can see the power of words. You know, if words and images were not that powerful, one of the biggest businesses of the world would not be publicity and advertisement. Why advertisement is one of the biggest businesses of the world? Because we are influenced by what we see, by what we read, by what we listen. We are influenced by it. And these are all single actions. Okay? So, there is no action that is in vain. There is no action which can be physically, it can be verbal action, it can be a thought that doesn't have an influence. Even thoughts. In our mind works based on association. Okay? When we see something, we associate with something else. We connect it to something else. And this is how we start seeing things. No? It's like the famous phrase from our Nazi propaganda, which was, by repeating a lie again and again, it becomes truth. That's in the perception of people. In the public perception, when you take one lie and you repeat again and again and again and again and again, there is a moment in which you start believing in it. There is a story in Tibet, which is nice, that when they were making the monastery of Tashilumpo, there is a tradition in Tibet that when they are building a temple, there is a moment in which the golden roof is placed. Like similar to the one we have on top here, in Tibet, the monasteries, they have very big golden roofs. So, according to tradition, when the golden roof is placed, there should be no people around watching, because it brings bad luck. So there shouldn't be people looking at it when they place. But everybody likes to look at it when it's placed. Okay? So there was a time when they were making a very important roof in Tashilumpo in Tibet, and the one responsible, the Lama responsible, he said, okay, was not a Lama, was the constructor actually. He said, okay, but we need to do, but I don't want people around that day, because it's a very delicate moment. People didn't have the cranes like today. It was very delicate to do it. So he made the following idea. He talked with some people, and he started making gossip around that in the mountain behind the city, there was a dragon. So he was saying, oh, I came from there, and there was a dragon lying there. You know, and he was start talking about the details of how the dragon was and this and that. And he started putting into technical places to people, strategic points. He was saying this. And then all the masses of people start going to that place. But it took a long time to go and come back. So his thought was, I send the people there. It will take time for them to go. When they come back, I have already finished to put the golden roof. And what happened is that almost all the city that day went to this place because they start talking, oh, there is a dragon here, there, let's go to see the dragon. This is a few centuries ago. Let's go there. And then everyone went there. They put the golden roof well. But what happened is that when people came back, the golden roof was already placed, but people start commenting how the dragon was. And it was like, oh, I saw the dragon. Yes, but I saw the tail of the dragon. No, but I saw this. And everybody was like so convinced of the dragon that he went himself. So check, oh, maybe it's true, you know. He created the whole story, and after some time, he started to believe in it. So our mind is like this. When we repeat something to ourselves, slowly, we start to believe in it. The other day I heard one phrase which was saying, the greatest invention of humankind up to now has been the invention of history. Because history, it's our version of things. It's an invention. Very often, if we take any situation that happens, if I tell you how it happened, and another person tell it how it happened, and each one of us will say we have 5 different versions. When we take a textbook and we study the history of Italy, the history of Europe, the Romans, this, that, whatever, there is a part of facts that we could check, and there is a great part in which we are just listening to the versions of those that were telling us the stories. And very often the stories have a big part of, how to say, personal agendas inside. You know? When I will tell you a story about something related to someone that I like, I will put the good parts a little bit better. I will put a little bit of color. You know? If I tell you about a story about someone that I don't like, the good part I make little less, the bad part I bring little up. Or not? You know? So, it is really very much the fact that each one of us have a different perspective and information that we have in our mind. As much information we receive, the interesting thing is when someone tells us this happened like this, how do we perceive it? As that person sharing with me his subjective experience, or I see the reality. That's what happened. You know? Some time ago I saw a movie that had one aspect which maybe was the best aspect of the movie, which is the same story was told 3 times inside the same movie. There were 3 people in the movie, and the movie repeated itself 3 times. But the way how it was showing, the first time you see the story, the perception that we have is, oh, that's what happened. Then the movie repeats the story again, being told by another person. And the details were a little different. Some aspects were quite different. And then you look and say, oh, you see, it was not like the other one said. Actually, it was like this. Then comes the third person and tells again his own version of the story. And then the feeling we have, oh, actually, it was like that. But what is amazing for me is that when someone tells us something, very often our tendency is to say, oh, that's how it happened. We don't have the feeling, oh, I am listening the version or the subjective version that this person have experienced. We feel that that's what happened. So when we sum up, we add up in our mind the judgment of one person that was told to us, the perception of that other thing, what we experienced in the past, all these thoughts together, they build up our perception of reality and the way how we act and the choices we make at every moment. So every thought we have influences the other thoughts. One thought is not there in vain. If we repeat a thought again and again, gradually it becomes stronger. And even we have a strange mechanism sometimes that even when we prove the contrary, we don't trust our proof because we have that thought so many times. Oh, it must have been right after thinking like this for such a long time. And we stick to it. What I want to say with all of this, making it simple, sorry to go so much around, is that there is no action which can be a thought, an emotion, a word we say, a choice we make, an interaction we have, that will not have big consequences in our life. That will not determine our life. Our life is determined by the very complexity of all the choices that we make, all the actions that we do, put together with the interaction with all those around us. Okay? And when we can see it, and when we start understanding little bit like the sort of law of physics of the universe, we start seeing that actions bring results. And if I want a certain type of result, I must do a certain type of action. Simple as that. This is called the law of karma. So when we talk about karma, we are not talking about something such as what is our, destiny. Karma has nothing to do with destiny. Karma has to do with choices. Karma has to do with action. Karma literally means action. So it means whatever I do, physically, verbally, or mentally, will bring results. And whatever I experience is the result of the actions of the past put together with the conditions of the present. Okay? Conditions are of 2 types. We have inner conditions and outer conditions. Okay? The inner conditions are in the present moment our thoughts, our actions, our choices, our body. Okay, this is part of the inner condition. The outer condition is the actions and choices of other people and the environment around us. So in the present moment, the actions that we did in the past will sum up with the actions of the present, the conditions of the present, and from that we have result. So just to explain karma on a little more detailed way, I like to imagine the following metaphor. Let's say that I take an object, okay, like this stick, and I throw it. In the moment I throw the object, the action of throwing is completed. Right? Finished. The action is finished. But what happened? There is a force that is generated, an inertia. So through that inertia, what happens? The stick continues to fly. So the force continues to go. What happens is that because we are in this planet with this atmosphere, the force that I throw, it's actually going into conflict or into, how do you say that, attrito, no? Together with atmosphere, together with air and so on. That's why the strength slowly become less and less until it falls. Because there is air, because there is gravity, all of that, these forces, they interact and then the sticks stop flying. True? Right? What happens if I take this stick and I throw the stick in outer space? Theoretically, I have never done it, but theoretically. Because there is no any other force against it, it will continue to fly, right? So, I throw the stick. The action is finished, but there is an inertia, which the action is said called karma. The inertia is called karmic force. It's the force that is generated, the energy that is generated from the action. So through that karmic force, the sticks continue to fly. Then there is a person in front, and it hits in the head of the person. The person being there in that position is a condition. The fact that the person stood up in that moment is a condition. The wind that moved, it's a condition. The cause is the action which generated that force. So we have karmic force that enters in contact with a condition, and out of that we have a result. Okay? So, if I throw the stick in outer space, it will move on and will go until it meets something else. Okay? Until something is in middle of its path. So in a way we could say that karma is a little bit like I throw the stick, it goes, and it goes around the earth. And sometimes it hits us back. And then we say, oh, this is a stupid stick, you know. When it's our own actions coming back to us. Okay. Nothing that we experience in the present moment is disconnected from all our choices of the past. What we experience in the present is a result of the actions, the karmic forces that we have generated in the past, put together with the choices and experiences of the present. Okay? So, when we talk about karma, we are not talking about destiny, we're actually talking about a force that is being generated out of action. And this force interacts with the rest. Okay? And if we look, for example, as a group, no, as a society, we are in Italy. There are many aspects of our society that have a very strong influence in our daily life that are the result of choices that were made maybe centuries ago, tens of decades ago. No? I know a little bit better Brazilian history than Italian history. I don't know much about Italian history. But when I look to Brazilian history, I see how much our society nowadays is influenced, and the life of every Brazilian individual nowadays is influenced by the choices that were made long ago during our colonial period. It's amazingly strong. So, but I had nothing to do with it. But here you are. No. The choices of the past, they create like a wave. And then the results will come after. It's like looking at the environment. One time there was a doctor, I was in a conference, and this doctor was a doctor specialized in diseases created from the environment. And the doctor was saying that when something goes into the atmosphere, into the environment, once the air or the water is polluted, for example, or the earth is polluted, until that pollution enters in contact with someone and manifests as a symptom of a sickness, normally takes around 20 years. So when I go in my car and I pollute the air, the whole process, until someone gets sick, takes like 20 years. So solving it is also a long-term thing, because when I stop today, there will be still the results of the previous years coming. No? It's like sometimes I'll stop people saying, oh, how come I have now lung disease now? I just stopped smoking. Yeah, but all the other 50 years? No, they're also there. So in the present, we experience the results of our past. Just make a simple question. Do we experience today effects from the emotions we went through in our teenage time or our childhood? Are we influenced, the way how we perceive reality, is it influenced by the situations and experiences we went through when we were a child or a teenage? But come on, so many years have passed. But that doesn't mean much. It's like there is a force still there from all of that coming. So this is karma. Karma means that in the moment that I say something, that I act in any other way, this is generating inertia, this is generating force. And that energy is going to continue. And I will take it with me. Anywhere I go, I take it with me. My past comes with me anywhere I go. And by my past, I mean the energy, the inertia generated by the actions that I have done in the past, they all come with me, from life to life. This is the so-called karma. So in the moment that we start looking at it, we start understanding it, the result is to say, I don't want to suffer. I want to be happy. And the way how karma manifests, how do I experience the results of my previous actions? Through sensation. Sensation is that through which we experience the result of our previous actions. Okay? So whenever I have a sensation of pleasure, of joy, it's the result of a virtuous action, of a positive interdependence I created. Whenever I have a sensation of suffering, it's the result of a negative interdependence I have created in the past, which is manifesting in the present. One of our big issues is our tendency is to see the condition as the cause. One day, I was coming from Milan to Albagnano by train, many years ago. And I used to have this strange habit, now much less. I still have the urge, but I don't do so much, of playing with time. Like I would go to this, I calculated how many minutes took walking from Via Marco Polo to the train station, and I knew the time of the train, and I would go out of the house like by the second. No? So I would always reach there where the train was basically leaving. No? And I had a particular joy that I would enter the train and the train would leave. No? I didn't like so much when I would enter the train and it would still take a few minutes. This was just my own game. So one day I arrived there in the train station and I saw that the guys were there to close the door of the train, so I was in the perfect moment, about to go in, and there was one lady full of luggages. And she needed to go in on the train. And she had so many luggages and she was quite anxious, she appeared. It was very difficult. So what I did, I simply went into the train, taking her luggages and bringing into the train to help her. But there was no time, according to my perception, to say, excuse me, do you need some help? Can I help you with the luggage? I should have said something, I didn't. I just thought, I need to help her, the train is about to leave, let's go. No? But she didn't expect someone taking her luggage in that way, putting it on the train. So she got so upset with me. She told me all sorts of names. And she was really upset with me, you know. So this sensation when she was upset with me, was it pleasurable? No. Okay. In my way of seeing, right away, what was the spontaneous way of seeing? Why am I feeling bad? Because you have said this to me. If we stop to analyze deeper, the words that the person said to me were a condition through which I experience the results of actions that come far way behind. Okay? It's like a sickness. When the symptom manifests, when we have pain, it's not caused by what is happening right now. It's caused by many things of the past which create the sickness, and the conditions of the present make the sickness to manifest symptoms. But the causes are far way behind. It's like if I get cold and my lungs are weak and I start coughing, but my lungs are weak because I smoked for many years. So which are the causes of my cough? My smoking. It's like one other very simple example to understand is like if I have a wound in my arm. Because at some point I burned my arm and there is a wound from the burn. And then at one moment someone comes near to me and touches my arm and it becomes very painful. We blame the person, but which is the actual cause of my pain? The wound. Okay? So karma is similar to that. We need to remind ourselves that whatever we experience in the present, what we see are conditions, are not causes. And our tendency is to blame conditions. So there are 4 basic rules for the law of karma. 4 basic aspects of karma. First rule, there are no results without causes. If I experience something, it's because at some point, somewhere, causes were made for it. Which were the causes? When it was, I have no idea. You know? Some people say, well, how come I don't remember? Come on, I don't remember even what I ate for lunch yesterday. How can I remember every action that I did? No. Sincerely speaking, I think our memory is very weak, at least mine. We don't remember much what will have happened in the past. No? This made me remember of one anecdote which helps to explain a little bit clearly this aspect of karma. One day, I received a fine. No, it was not a fine. It was, I needed to renew the insurance of my car. And then in the insurance, the moment of renewing the insurance, it was a little bit higher than what I expected normally. And they said, oh, because there was one accident. I said, an accident? I didn't hit the car, 21. There was no accident. No, yes, there was an accident. I said, but, many times other people drive my car. Oh, but I said, look, someone drove my car and made an accident and even didn't tell me. And then I checked and I said to the company of insurance company, but what's the name in the... They said, no, it's your name. I said, even they put my name. Instead of even putting their own name, they even put my name. How bad, they do in this way and so on. And I had a very strong feeling that I was needing to pay for something that I didn't do. There was this strong feeling of sort of injustice. I didn't do an accident with my car. Why do I need to pay more for this? Then I said to the insurance company, do you have a copy of the document of the accident? They said, yes. Can you send it to me? I want to check if the signature is right, no? And then they send it, and I look and I say, it's my signature. And normally people cannot copy it so easily. And then I start looking at it, and then memories slowly start to come back. It was one day here in the center. It was late in the evening. I needed to go somewhere, I don't remember even where. I was in a hurry. It was dark with a lot of mist. When I parked the car, there was no one. When I took the car out, there was another car parked just by the side of my car. And I didn't see it. So when I went back and I turned, I hit the car. And then I left. I needed to go to Brazil, who knows where, and I didn't come. So I called the center, and I said, look, please, you say to whoever is in the center that someone came to the center. They may be sleeping in the center, and they will see their car being hit. It was me. Please, I leave one document signed. You do everything for me, you know. So everything was done, and it was okay. Insurance paid whatever needed to be paid. And it was correct. But for me, it was a big teaching because I felt this feeling of, I'm paying for something I'm not supposed to pay, this feeling of injustice because I didn't remember. You know? Imagine if you have a credit card. Karma is very similar to a credit card, but with a few differences. I don't know, have you ever happened that you bought something, you received the payment of the credit card, the monthly bill, and you see something and you say, no, but I didn't buy that? You know? It can happen. Some time ago, it happened to a friend of mine, and finally they called the bank, they canceled the whole thing, saying someone stole, and after sometimes they remember, oh, actually it was true, you know. They need to call the bank again, say, sorry, it was our mistake and everything, but imagine if the credit card had a few differences. First point of the credit card difference is that when we get the bill of the credit card, it doesn't come with detailed explanation, just come the amount to pay. Second, you never know from when. Maybe you buy today and the result come in 10 years. But it doesn't come with a description. Huh? Maybe you spend a lot of money this month and the bill comes very small. And then comes after many years, you spend very little money and you have a very big bill. But you never pay for something that you have not spent. But because we don't remember what we have spent, very often we will feel like, this is not correct, this is not right, what have I done wrong, this is not just, and so on. Karma is very much like that. There is nothing that we experience that we have not created the causes in this or in other lives. It's like if a bill comes to pay, it's because we spent the money before. We never need to pay for something that we didn't spend. This is the first law of karma. There is no results without causes. And we cannot experience the causes of the actions of others. And others cannot experience the result of our actions. Our actions can be conditions through which others manifest their own causes. But our actions bring results to ourselves. So anything that I experience, it has been created by my own actions at some point. There is no result without causes. Okay? I think it's quite clear, no? This answers, for example, one question that in Buddhism is very simple, but in many other traditions have been quite complex, which is, for example, when a child is born with a disease, like a child is born blind. One of the questions that comes is, who is to blame? Because the child was just born. The child didn't do anything wrong in order to go through this suffering. So who is to blame? The child? No. The parents? I also think not. So it's very difficult to answer. Once I was in a congress in Milan, near Milan, from one big Italian foundation called Fondazione Don Gnocchi. And the whole congress was about this, which in the Christian tradition, from my understanding, it is called il dolore innocente, the innocent pain. And then they asked me, after that, they ask me, what is the Buddhist view of innocent pain? And I say, can you explain me what is innocent pain? And then they make me this example, and I said, it's very simple. Whenever a child is born, the child is not born like clean, clear. There has been a long past before. And whenever we are reborn, we bring with us the weight of the actions that we have done. And if in the moment of birth conditions manifest, we pay the bill. So, whenever something happens to any one of us, it's because the causes were created in the past. This doesn't take away the responsibility of the actions of others. So, for example, if someone comes and harms me, okay? I am walking on the road, someone comes and steals something from me or beats me, or if anyone treats me with violence. The suffering that I experience is the result of my own actions of the past put together with the condition of the present, which is the action of that other person together with my own thoughts and reactions. The action of violence that that person did towards me, it's a negative cause that the person is creating that will bring results sooner or later to the person. Okay? So it's not because the causes of my experience were my own actions that this takes away the responsibility of the actions of others. Okay, just to make this clear. It's not like, come, I hit you, pah, that's your karma result. I have nothing to do with it. I'm just helping you to experience the result of your own actions. Okay, that's not correct. Okay, we are always responsible for our own actions. So, first rule of karma, there is no results without causes. And the causes are done by ourselves. Okay? So this means whenever we experience pain or suffering, physical or mental, we shall not blame others. We shall understand that there are situations that we don't know how to experience correctly, that through that situations we experience pain and suffering, but the cause of our pain and suffering is being created by our own actions of the past. It's the first. Second, there are no actions that will bring no results. Any action, sooner or later, will manifest results, unless they are eliminated by an opposite action. Okay? Basically, when we generate an inertia, when we have a karmic force generated by a specific action, if we regret of that action and we generate an opposite force, it's like one energy going against the other and eliminating each other. Okay? So for example, I do something very positive, I help someone, I act out of love and generosity, very positive action. Then at one moment I regret of what I have done. And then I act with violence. I am eliminating the positive force of the action that I have done before. On the other hand, if I do something violent and negative, and at one point I understand that that was not okay, and I commit myself not to repeat that action again, and I do something positive as opposite action towards what I have done in the past, I can eliminate that karmic force before experiencing its results. This is called purification. Okay? The process of purification is when we generate an opposite action, an opposite force, to a negative action that we have done in the past in order to eliminate it. Purification is when it's possible to eliminate one negative cause without needing to experience its results. Otherwise, anything will do if that action is not eliminated, or by purification, or by regret, positive or negative action that it may be, sooner or later the fruits will come. The results will come. It's like when I plant a seed, whenever conditions will be there, the seed will ripen. Some days ago, I read a very beautiful news that in Israel, they found one place where 2,000 years ago, more or less 2,000 years ago, there was a tribe that they were being persecuted by the Romans. So what they did at the time is, in order not to become slaves, they did mass suicide. And when they killed themselves, they burned all the food that they had stocked also. So in the middle of all of this, the archaeologists, they found a box full of, they say dairies, this sort of very sweet, what's the name of it? Like from the palm tree, no? Dates. They found with very old dates. So these dates were like more than 2,000 years old. Then one lady at a certain point, she had the idea to plant that dates. Because these are very special trees that have many qualities of healing, blah, blah, blah. But so they start planting the seeds that were more than 2,000 years old, and they were able to make them ripen. And nowadays there are many trees around there which comes from that dates, from the seeds that were kept there for 2,000 years. Okay? Similar to that in karma, when you plant one seed, whenever there is water and sun, the results will come. It will ripen. Okay? So every action we do is like a seed that we plant in our own mind stream. Sooner or later, there will be results. Okay? So first aspect of karma, there is no result without causes. Second, there are no causes that sooner or later will not bring results. Okay? So every word I say, every choice I make, every interaction I have, every thought I have, sooner or later will bring results. Okay? Third law of karma, third aspect of karma. There is consistency between causes and results. So for example, if I plant the seed of lemon, I cannot bear the fruit of orange. Even though I may have a lot of oranges being planted, if I put a lemon in the middle of all the oranges, when the conditions are there and the lemon seed ripens, would it become orange because it's surrounded by oranges? It remains lemon. Maybe some characteristics will be influenced by the oranges, but it's still lemon. So what happens is that whenever we act, the type of result that we will have is coherent with the causes. Okay? So I make one action which generates joy, well-being, which diminishes suffering. This is the type of actions that will bring me joy and well-being. I make an action that generates suffering. This is an action that sooner or later will manifest in the form of suffering. Okay? I make an action that doesn't generate suffering or pleasure. It brings a result which is neutral, not suffering or pleasure. So basically there are three types of sensation, and that's why there are three types of karma. Okay? The three types of sensation are, we have pleasurable sensation, which are all the sensations that we have, and we want them to continue. And when they finish, we want them to come back. This is a sensation of pleasure. Then sensation of suffering, which are all the sensations we have. We want them to end as soon as possible, and when they end, we want them not to come back again. And then there are the neutral sensations, which are the sensations that when we have, we do not care if they continue or not. And when they end, we do not care if they come back or not. Okay? As there are three sensations, there are three types of actions, three types of karma. The actions that when their results are ripened, they manifest as pleasure are called positive actions. The actions that when their results are manifested, they manifest as suffering are called negative actions. The actions that when their results are manifested, they manifest as neutral sensation are called neutral actions. Okay? What is the biggest difficulty we have? When we do an action, we have no idea what will be the result. Okay? But many people with much more wisdom than us explained to us the type of result and action. This was one of the special characteristics of Buddha Shakyamuni. There are many sutras in which people would go to Buddha and ask, "Oh Buddha, how come this person is experiencing this?" And then Buddha would say, "Oh, this is the ripening of a specific karma. Because at that time the person did this and that and that, and that energy remained, and now it's ripening into this experience." No? And it's quite shocking when you read it, actually. I think these are sutras that are not very popular in the Western world. Because they give a very strong idea that actions do bring results. It's like law. If I go and I steal something, or I kill someone, and then I go into total amnesia, am I still responsible in front of the law? Do I still need to go to jail? Do I still need to pay the fine? But I don't remember. But this doesn't take away my responsibility. So is with karma. And even goes from life to life. We don't remember, but still it's us. Okay? It's like I have seen people that they have done something that was really bad, but they changed completely their mind. They completely changed. But even though they changed, they still need to pay the price for what they have done. No? That's why I always tend to think for myself and to share with others, we are free to do anything we want. We are completely free to do anything we want. But we are not free from the consequences of our choices and actions. You want to break the law, you break the law, but after you pay the price, it's a choice, you know. Can I kill? I can. But then after I have a price to pay. Legally, karmically, emotionally, like on every level. So, every action that we do, it has a part, the action has 4 aspects. There is the motivation. Okay? It's like when we plant a seed. If these 4 characteristics are there, the seed is complete. If the 4 characteristics are not there, the seed is not fully powerful. So when it will ripen not the full plant, just part of it. So the first is motivation, intention. So let's make one example. I want to kill you. A simple example, no? Very direct. I want to kill you. It's the intention. I have a lot of resentment. I feel that by killing you I will receive whatever benefit, whatever. I want to kill you. So intention is clear. Second part, the actual action. I go, I take poison, I put in your food. I did the action. Third, you eat the food and you die. The action is completed. So completion of the action. Fourth, I have done it. Good. Rejoicing for the action. This makes the action complete. If I want to kill you, I buy the poison, I put the poison, and while you are eating it, I regret, I change idea. And actually you die, but I feel so bad, don't rejoice, the action is not complete. If I want to kill you, I buy the poison, I put in your food, but you don't eat, the action is not complete. If I want to kill you and I don't buy the poison, the action is not complete. Okay, but it is still there. So I want you to believe a different version of reality than the one that I have. In other words, I want to lie to you. Why? Because I want to take advantage of a certain situation. I go there and I tell you something in order for you to believe something else. Intention is there, action is there, you believe in what I say. I got it, he believed it, that's good. The action is complete. I want to help you because I care for you. I go there, I do something to help you. I'm able to fulfill the help, which is when you receive or benefit feeling joy, or you are able to avoid a certain suffering. I'm able to help you. I'm happy that I could help you. The action is complete. I go to help you, I do something to help you, you don't say thank you. Why did I help you? The action is not complete. Okay? So these are the 4 characteristics for an action to be complete. If any one of the 4 are present, a part of the action is there. But there is a big difference when the action is complete. The inertia is much more powerful. The karmic force is much more powerful. So for example, what happened if I kill someone, but I had no intention and I didn't do anything to kill, but I ended up killing? For example, I am driving a car and suddenly I don't see, and for whatever reason happens an accident and I kill someone. Am I responsible for the death of that person or not? I am driving in the night, suddenly there is someone there I didn't see, but I still killed. But what happened in this case? No intention, no action to kill, but still I killed and no rejoicing. I still have responsibility, but it's thousands of times smaller than if I want to kill, I go to kill, I kill and I rejoice. There is an immense difference between the two. Okay? But I'm still responsible even though I had no intention. So, this is the 3rd characteristic of karma, which is that karma is coherent. If you do one type of action, you will get that type of result. Okay? And an action can be complete or not, according if there is motivation or not. Demotivation, on the other side, is what gives direction to the action. Okay? Let's imagine bow and arrow. We take the bow, we pull the bow with the arrow, and then we throw. I can do the same action with the same strength. Depending on the direction that I put the bow and the arrow, the result will be completely different. And so the motivation is the direction. Pulling the bow and letting the arrow go is the action. So motivation is why. What is the emotion connected to it? Is it for a selfish reason? Is it out of compassion? Is it out of love? Is it out of arrogance? Is it out of generosity? Why am I doing this? There is something behind. And it's deep. And this is what determines mostly our action and the results that we will have. Okay? That's why basically our motivation is one of the most important things. But it's not enough alone. Because I can have the motivation to help, but actually I can harm. Is it possible? I really want to help, but I ended up making things worse. I saw it many times. Motivation is good, but it's lacking wisdom to know the right action. Okay? That's why karma is complex. It's not that obvious. No, there is this example that I gave many times. Let's say that I am teaching children how to make chocolate cake. And I am in a kitchen at the 10th floor of one building, and I'm teaching children how to make nice chocolate cake. It's a nice thing to do. But at one moment, I am with many children in this small kitchen, and suddenly the electric oven starts to go on fire. And a very strong toxic smoke is coming out of the oven. And I am worried about the children, and the door is closed, there is no much air around. I am afraid that the children will get hurt. So the only solution I find at the moment is to take the oven and throw it from the window. I even get my hands burned to throw the oven away. Why am I throwing the oven away? Out of compassion, which means I don't want the children to suffer. Okay? So I throw the oven away, all the children are safe, I avoid a lot of suffering for the children. So the motivation was good. The action was done. It was completed. I saved the children from the danger of the fire and the toxic smoke, and I'm happy that I did it. But the oven fell down from the window in the head of someone, and that person died. Am I still responsible for that death or not? Yes, there was no intention. There was no action done into that direction. There is no rejoicing, but still the action is there, and I am still responsible. Not as much as if the action was complete. So this is just to show one example of the complexity of karma. So was it a positive action or a negative action? In relating to the children was a positive action. In relation to the person that is walking was a negative action. So it's very complex, the whole thing. But the main factor that needs to determine our karma, our actions, is our motivation. What is the emotion behind? What is the intention behind? Why I do one thing or another? What is my true intention behind? Okay? And this is something that only we know. We need to be very sincere with ourselves. Okay? So this is the third characteristic of karma. There is coherence between what we do and what we experience. And this is one other, just with this, I just like to add, there is two very, very important concepts in Buddhist paradigm, which don't exist in our Western culture, and that's why we don't have words for it, which in Sanskrit is called punya and papam, which in Tibetan is translated as sonam and dikpa. Then, there have been many translations into Western languages. I don't find any one of them satisfactory. Mainly because the words that we use, they come already with a concept behind. And it doesn't fit with the reality. So first I will tell the concept of these two words. Then after we can see the words that we use to translate it, okay? We said that karma manifests through sensation. So all the positive karmic force that manifests as suffering, when manifested, manifests as suffering, is called papam or dikpa. Any karmic force that when manifests its results, manifests as suffering, is called papam or dikpa. Any karmic force that when manifested its results manifest as well-being is called punya or sonam. Okay? Normally it is translated as positive karma, negative karma. But sometimes it's translated as merit, and even some people translate it as sin. These concepts, they have other ideas. Merit looks like I have the merit to do something. It's different, no? So it's positive causes, negative causes. And positive is negative depends basically on what type of result will it bring. And it's very complex to determine if something is fully positive or fully negative. Like the example I did before, it's positive in relation to the children that I saved, is negative in relation to the person that I killed. So I'm generating one energy that goes in two directions. One energy towards the children I help, but another energy which was towards the person that I killed. Okay, so karma is extremely complex. It is said that it's even more difficult to understand clearly the relationship between causes and results than understanding the correct view of reality. And only a Buddha is able to see clearly there is a relationship between causes and results. Anyhow, the third aspect of karma, coherence between action and result. And these two words, which we normally translate as merit or positive karma or negative karma or negativity, it's basically that if I want to have good results, I need to create good causes. That's what we call accumulation of merit. Normally when this word is used, we need to accumulate merit, basically means, do you want to have good results? So why do you need to create good causes? Because even if you have all the conditions, but the causes are not there, you cannot have the results. It's similar, making one metaphor, is like, can I buy what I want? If I go to a shop, can I buy what I want or not? It depends. If I have the money and if it is for sale. Right? I can go to a shop and say, I want to buy that. I pay whatever you want. Oh, but it's not for sale. Then I cannot buy it. And if I go to a shop and I said, I want that. Do you have the money? I have only 10 euros. How much it cost? 10,000. Oh, but I was told that I can buy what I want. You can buy what I want with that whatever your money can buy. Similar to that, in our life, we can do what we want as long as we have created the causes in the past and the conditions are present in the present. Accumulating the money is creating the causes. Being there for sale is having the conditions. I can have all the money to buy something, but if the shop is closed, I have the causes, but I don't have the conditions. So, this is basically this aspect of, in order to gain results, we must have the causes. And to accumulate positive causes is called accumulate merits. And then here comes with one specific aspect, which is, in order to experience peace, harmony, joy, satisfaction, courage, and many other positive states of mind, which bring a sensation of pleasure, is not enough just to go through a complex intellectual process. We must have the karmic force that sustains that state of consciousness. If we don't have the positive karmic force that sustains a state of well-being, that state of well-being will not be sustained. That's why we talk a lot about accumulation of merit, accumulation of positive causes. And how do we accumulate merit? The easiest way is by giving, by sharing. Because remember, what is the rule? Positive causes, merit, punya, sonam, are the actions that have as an objective and as a result a state of joy, well-being, and elimination of suffering. Okay? The actions that have as an objective or as a result suffering, such as violence, will become causes for suffering. So the best way is when we act out of love, out of kindness, and we share and we give to others, materially, emotionally, protection, sharing the Dharma. Whenever we give something and we help others, we are generating positive causes. Okay? And the more are the ones that receive benefit, the stronger is the action that we do. More powerful is that positive action that we do. Okay? It's given one example in teachings. It says, in a war, the soldier is responsible for everyone that he kills. The general is karmically responsible for everyone that is killed. Because when I send the order to kill, I am responsible of the action of the other also. That's why it is said that there is not much difference in the action that is done directly by us, that we make someone else do, or that we rejoice of someone else having done. Karmically speaking, the force that we generate ourselves, there is not much difference what we do directly, what we make others do, or what we rejoice of. That's why we need to use it wisely. If we rejoice of positive things, we generate a lot of positive energy without needing to do much. You do the hard work, I rejoice. It still works, but needs to be sincere. Okay. The fourth aspect of karma. So just to make clear, we have these two words which we call merit or positive karma and negative karma, which is the aspect of having the causes to experience the result. And in our spiritual path, in order to experience peace and harmony and so on, positive karma is extremely important on any aspect of life. Okay. Fourth aspect of karma is called in Tibetan lepelwetsul, which refers to the fact that karma is a form of inertia. Karmic force is an inertia, and it's somehow alive. Okay? It's not static, so it interacts. So what happens is that the tendency is that when we do an action, the tendency is for that action to grow. And there are two ways of it. The main way is that, for example, I kill. The moment that I have killed the first time, I am opening the door to kill many others. I create a pattern, I create a habit. I remember one time in a documentary that I saw, a very special documentary called Human, which anybody have not seen it can look at it, I think it's in YouTube. It's called Human, very beautiful documentary. And there was one of the interviews there, which this guy is saying something very strong. He was talking about when he was in war and the feeling he had the first time he killed a person. And he was saying something like, when I killed, the first time I killed someone, I felt this incredible, empowering feeling. And it was really good. I felt something very particular. And since that first time, I was always looking for an opportunity to kill someone again. And he said, now that I am not in war, I hold a gun loaded in my house, so just in case someone like a robber come to my house, so I can have the opportunity to feel that again. Okay? He was being sincere. Most people normally would not. Okay? Not everyone have the same feeling by killing someone, okay? But what this man was showing is that when you do one action once, it starts to generate a pattern. And the more you do, the easier it becomes to repeat. Again and again. So when we do a negative action of any kind, for example, someone that is not used to lie. Then you say one lie. In the beginning is not so easy. Then the second lie is a little easier. The third lie is more easy. At one point you see that you are lying and you don't even think about it anymore. This is part of the increment of action. The more I do an action, the easier it becomes to repeat it. So from the karmic point of view, if I do one action once, I generate a certain amount of inertia. When I repeat a similar action again, it can sum up to that one. And then it becomes even stronger, and I build up. So something initially very small, after repeating it for many times, can become very big. No? It's like spending money with something very small. But when you do it a lot, when you see, you spend a lot of money. And the more you do, more difficult it becomes to avoid doing it. Okay? So this characteristic of karma normally is explained in a little different way. But my understanding is that this increase of karma is that the more I do something, the easier it becomes to repeat it. And then the action becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. So one small action can bring big results because it goes adding, summing up one with the other. And then when we see, poof, something quite big, both positive and negative. The other aspect of this, it is said that this inertia that is generated when we make an action, if we do not acknowledge the action and at least we do not share it with others, if we keep that action hidden, we don't share with others that we did it, we make as if it didn't happen, we keep that action hidden, the tendency is that that inertia is untouched somehow and it will continue to grow. It's like a snowball. It's like letting something go on a path going downwards. When you let it go, the inertia slowly gets bigger. So, based on this rule, it says when we do something positive and we keep it for ourselves, this gives the possibility for that energy to grow. When we go to others and we say, you know what I have done? I did this, I did that. It will make that action to get smaller, to stop growing. On the other side, if we rejoice of it, it gets stronger. Okay? So, if I do something negative, and I acknowledge my own action, and I said, I go to anyone, it can be even by myself, or if I go to talk to someone I trust, and I say, I have done this and that, I reacted in this way, I know that it's not good, out of my own ignorance and defilements, whatever, I acted in this way, I'm sorry for it, but I openly admit my action. This makes the energy to stop growing. That's why in Tibetan it's called chaba and machaba, which means hidden and unhidden. So even, for example, in monastic vows, when someone breaks a vow, there are some vows that if you break the vow and you keep hidden, then you lose all the other vows. The whole system falls apart. If you break the vow and you don't keep it hidden, you go to someone and you share, say, look, I did this mistake because of this and that, I went through this process, and you openly admit it, then you can actually, it's possible to renovate the vows, to reintegrate the vows. No? So, generally speaking, whenever we do a negative action, which may happen sometimes, out of jealousy, out of envy, out of anger, out of any negative emotion, don't keep it fully to yourself. Share with someone. And acknowledge, without blaming oneself, but saying, okay, this was a mistake. I hope not to repeat it again. This is important, in order for the action not to grow. Okay? So 4 aspects of karma we have. There is no results without causes. There are no causes without results. The relationship between causes and results are coherent, and karma grows. The more I do something, the more I will do it, the more I will have the tendency to do that action, and then it starts growing. Okay? So, Atisha, in the 11th century when he was going from India to Tibet, he would stop the whole caravan from time to time. And he would say, I made this negative action, I broke this commitment because I had that thought and this and that. And most people would say, at one point they came to Atisha and they said, great master, we have a long trip to do. So if we stop every time that you have something to say, and actually we don't even understand what you are telling us, why it is negative, And then he said, every small action, it doesn't matter how small it may seem, when keep it hidden, it may grow. So as soon as you recognize, openly admit it. For example, if we do something that we know we shouldn't do, but we keep it hidden, this will create the condition for us to repeat it again. There was one master in Tibet, his name was Geshe Chekawa. I am his complete fan. He was originally part of a sort of organized crime in the southern eastern part of Tibet. And then he regretted his lifestyle and he became a monk and so on. So one day he was making a puja, one ceremony. He was invited to do a ceremony in the house of a family. And he was there by himself. At one moment he found himself alone in the room, reciting the puja, whatever. And then he opened a drawer. And he saw jewels inside. And without even thinking much, he just took the jewels to steal them. Out of the habit that he had as a robber before. Before he needed to enter the house, beating people up, doing whatever. Now, who thought the monk would steal? No one, so best opportunity. So he just took the gold in his hand, the jewels. But as soon as he took it, he understood, he said, oh, that is wrong. I should not steal. I changed my whole life because this is wrong. Then what most of us may have done, okay, but this family is very rich, okay, I can do something good with it. And we justify it. Or we say, yes, I shouldn't steal, put back, no one saw, everything is fine. Instead, he raised his hand, he took the other hand like this, and he started shouting, there is a thief in the house, a robber is in the house, Ben Kungel is stealing, And then the people of the family, they came to the room and they saw, and they said, where's the robber? He said, here it is, holding very strongly the hand. And these people thought, this guy is really crazy. Better we don't call him again to do pujas, like. What was he doing? He was stopping the mind of stealing, but also he was stopping the mind of the arrogance, I am the monk, pure monk, I am this, I am that. I'm sure next time he would be in the house of someone, if they invite him again, he would not open the drawer again. If he made like nothing happened, that habit remains somewhere still there. So I don't want to say that we need to go around saying loudly to everyone, oh, I had this negative thought, I did this, I did that. We don't need to do that. But we should not hide from ourselves our negative habits and our wrong actions. Because the more we hide, the more they grow. On the other side, with the positive things that we do, if we share and we start telling others, I did something positive. Oh, this morning I did 100 prostrations. I put in Instagram. I did 100 prostrations to get. Look how much I'm sweating. And then I get many likes. People making nice comments. Oh, look, what a virtuous life you have. And then there is my ego being nourished. Next time I said, I need to post again in Instagram that I did prostrations. So let's do it, So at one point, why you are doing prostrations? To nourish one's own ego. Not because you are doing something with other type of spiritual motivation. So we need to be careful that when we tell others, why am I telling something positive that I did to others? To nourish my own ego? Or because I want to be a good example to help the other to understand something? What is the motivation behind? Sometimes it can be something good, but we need to be careful with it. Okay, so with this we complete the aspects of karma, and then with this we conclude for today. And we still have tomorrow, we will go still the last part of the preliminaries. And it is said that we start practicing Dharma when we take karma seriously in our life. Until we don't take seriously enough the law of karma in our life, we are not truly practicing Buddha's teachings. We start practicing the Dharma seriously when we take the law of karma seriously, when we avoid certain actions, when we try to accomplish others, when we feel that, okay, this is happening because I did something in the past, I should not blame others. When we do something, we know that there will be results. When we take the law of karma, when we stop being victimizing ourselves. That's a very important part of Dharma. We need to stop victimizing ourselves and take responsibility into our hands. It is said that there is one saying in Tibetan which says, Even an ant, the insect, an ant, if puts the effort in the right direction, can become a Buddha. You know? I don't know why in Buddhist texts very often ant is seen as the lowest of the beings. I like ants very much, but anyhow. Every one of us, if we act in a positive interdependence, we gradually can grow and make things become better and better. So one of the very important things of the law of karma is when we experience a negative result, do not react with another negative action. That's a fundamental rule. When I throw something and suddenly it hits my head, don't throw another one. So when I experience sadness, suffering of any kind, do not react with violence, with any sort of negative action, because then we are just perpetuating suffering. Okay? So we'll make our dedications now.
Jetsun alame kutse rapten chi nam karatin le chokchur ge pada losan tempe drume sasumgi drove munsel taktu ne gyur chi kewa kuntu yanda lama dang dralme cheki pela long ching sadan lamge yunde rapzone Dorje change kopa nyurtobesho nimo dele tsendele nime kuyan delek shing nyensen takto delek pe kuncho sumke jingelo kuncho sumke ngodrubutsol kuncho sumke trashisho. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three jewels grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and spring all the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. All'alba o al tramonto, di notte o durante il giorno, possano i tre gioielli concederci le loro benedizioni, possano aiutarci ad ottenere tutte le realizzazioni e cospargere il sentiero della nostra vita con molti segni di buon auspicio. Grazie a tutti. So now we have a very short break, and then who likes to go to light candles, or I think there will be also tsok offering in the Gompa. Maybe the Vajrayogin initiation is still going on, I'm not sure. And in a few minutes I will start teachings in Portuguese for Brazil, because today is the anniversary of the center in Brazil. So I took the commitment to give teachings for Brazil today at 6 Italian time. So I have the time to go to the bathroom and come back. In the meantime, Carminia will do the reconnecting of things in order to send for Brazil streaming. And those that like to stay and listen in Portuguese, welcome. Okay? Thank you. No, tomei ainda, não era pelo. Pode